And my dad just thought it was hilarious and said, you should probably be a lawyer someday if you really want to try to persuade people to see things your way when there's something that you can't do or can't win. And so strict parents, but the kind of parents that don't think they're strict. So yeah, so like, oh, can I go do whatever this weekend? And they're like, well, you just went to a party 2 weeks ago, like, why do you need to go again? So they also had this rule about not talking back. When they say no, you don't keep arguing with them. So I realized that the best way to get my point across was to write them letters. So when I was like 7 or 8, I would just start writing letters to them, like explaining why I should be able to do whatever thing and, trying to address what I thought all of their challenges to it would be. And I would leave the letters in my mom's bathroom where she got ready in the morning for work.
Nice.
And yeah, so it actually worked most of the time. And my dad just thought it was hilarious and said, you should probably be a lawyer someday if you really want to try to persuade people to see things your way when there's something that you can't do or can't win. And so in my mind, that was sort of what lawyers did.
So it was like practice over time just like brought you there. So it was something you already had in your blood when you started school, maybe?
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
I did like a couple of other things before law school though. So like in the States, the way our system is set up is it's 4 years of bachelor, and then, no matter what you want to study later, you have to do 4 years of bachelor, and then you usually reapply separately to go to grad school.
Okay.
So I worked for 3 years in fashion after college, after my undergrad. And I worked for Abercrombie & Fitch's corporate office.
Awesome.
It was, really different. I was a buyer and a product developer in Ohio. And then after a few years of that, it was definitely time to move on. So I went to law school and 3 years of law school, and then decided I wanted to stay in California.
Because Stanford is is it in San Francisco?
It's near San Francisco.
Right.
It's
Okay.
Palo Alto.
Okay.
So, so it was, I love California. Like, the weather is amazing. And when I was picking law schools, so weather.com at the time, I applied a little early before I went. So this must have been like 2007. But weather.com had this function where you could compare locations and see what the weather was like. I swear to God. So you could do like temperature, rainfall, all these different metrics. And I did that with all the schools I was looking at. And I was like, okay, if I get into Stanford or Berkeley, I'm not looking anywhere else. Like, those are the only options because, weather.
Where's Berkeley?
It's in the Bay Area also.
Okay.
So it's like near Oakland.
Okay.
Like East Bay, San Francisco Bay.
So Canada was out of the question.
Canada was out of the question.
Right.
I grew up 20 minutes from Canada.
Exactly.
Which was close enough to know that it was going to be colder than where I was coming from. So definitely out of the question.
So you studied a long time, and so you only started pretty much your fitness journey after school. So you never really worked out during school, or even competitive sports or something like that?
I kind of always played sports. I was a mediocre athlete in high school.
Okay.
But yeah, always active, volleyball and cross country and soccer. I was terrible at soccer, really bad, but I liked it. And then in college, I discovered rugby, and I loved it. It was the first sport that really clicked for me, and I was pretty good at it. And so I played that, and I lifted weights, but I didn't realize at the time that I had no idea what I was doing.
Right. So you're just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, just for, it was, it was fun. I liked being in the gym, and I liked running, so I would actually run quite a bit, 5 to 10 mile runs and stuff like that. But I don't know how I managed to actually do that much activity in a day when I think back.
Yeah.
Because now I would just be laid out after 4 hours of exercise. But yeah, I'd never really done it seriously until after school, and once I started with the lawyering, all that stuff.
What made that click? Because right now that we're talking, you're pretty competitive in what you do.
Yeah, it's weird. So I didn't realize this at the time, but I was working for a big law firm at the time, like a big international firm, and we just finished this crazy trial, and it was like working constantly in the beginning. For a couple months we were living out of a hotel in our own city because we were in the office so much, and work hours were like 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. and
Retarded.
it was totally nuts. And so toward the end of that, we were almost done with trial and wrapping up, and I was exhausted and hating my life. And then my mom actually died, like right sort of near the end, with, I would say, in the last month of trial. And so I didn't think about it then, but once trial was over and I had free time, it was probably like just needing to throw myself into something because I wasn't working that much. They basically said, you guys have essentially done more than a year's worth of work already, so just slow down. And so I had all this free time, and I probably didn't want to be in my own head. So I just started training a ton, and I got picked up by a trainer at this gym. She saw me lifting and said, have you ever thought about doing fitness competitions? I think maybe you could be good at it. And she told me about the WBFF. It's one organization that she competed with, and ended up training me for my first show in April. I think I started with her around Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, so like late November 2013.